So in this case, let's say I want to sign in. So I just click sign in. I want to see what the apps that I have that I can use, right? So now I have to use my company's email. So in this case, let's take it as I'm user 1. So I click on next. So at this point, the Microsoft Entra ID will actually take me to the organization sign-in page, which in this case, it actually redirects me to the ADFS, which I've set up. So now when I see this, what I can do, I can key my password. So once I'm done, I just click on sign in. Click on yes. And once it has authenticated, it will redirect me to the portal itself, where I can see all the apps that I have. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, what I'll be sharing with you is how you can do hybrid identity with federated authentication. So first of all, what exactly is a federated authentication? In simpler terms, it means that multiple independent entities coming together to use a set of common credentials for user authentication. From this diagram, you can see that there are multiple components involved. So we have the Microsoft Entra ID. So previously it was known as the Azure AD. So this is also like a IAM, Identity Access Management. Basically, it allows you to store emails of your user. And at the same time, we have the Federation Proxy, which is used in conjunction with your ADFS. So in this case, ADFS is the place where actually it does the user authentication. And then we have the AD. Basically, this is where we store all the users' information, like your name, email, probably the work ID, and such. So in order for this information to be in sync with the Microsoft Entra ID, you actually need a Microsoft Entra Connect sync, which previously was also known as AD Connect. So into this tutorial, what I'll be sharing with you is to show you the whole process of the setup from start to finish, at the same time to let you have an understanding of how this setup can be done on AWS. So before I continue, let me share with you the final results that you're going to achieve from this whole tutorial. So imagine you want to log into this Microsoft 365. So the only credentials you have is in AD, your Active Directory. So that is the only credentials that you have given by the company. So in this case, let's say I want to sign in. So I just click sign in. I want to see what the apps that I have that I can use, right? So now I have to use my company's email. So in this case, let's take it as I'm user 1. And this is the domain. That's my company's domain, tgrk.clouddns.be. So I click on next. So at this point, the Microsoft Entra ID will actually take me to the organization sign-in page, which in this case, it actually redirects me to the ADFS, which I've set up. Now, keep in mind that this ADFS is actually situated in the private subnet. It's not exposed to the internet. So why is this able to access to it is because of this something called the Federation Proxy, which allows you to expose the ADFS to the public internet, so you can access it from the internet. So now when I see this, what I can do, I can key my password. So once I'm done, I just click on sign in. Click on yes. And once it has authenticated, it will redirect me to the portal itself, where I can see all the apps that I have. But in this case, of course, I didn't sign up for any apps. So this is just to show you what is the final result that you're going to achieve. So that is an overview of what you're going to achieve from this tutorial. So first, what you need to do now is to create an organization domain. So just now you see that tgrk.clouddns.be is my organization domain. So it could be something else like Microsoft.com, or you could be at Google.com. So next, in Microsoft Entra ID, you need to add the following domains: the root domain, which is your organization domain, and also the ADFS domain. And afterwards, you need to set up your whole environment in AWS. Of course, you can set up your own premise environment that is not exposed to internet. But in this case, I will simulate the whole result in the cloud environment. Okay, so I'm going to set up this whole thing on AWS. So first we need to create a domain controller server where the native directory domain services is being installed, where it hold all the user data, and it must be in the private subnet because we cannot expose this to the public internet. So we need to protect our asset. Next, we have our ADFS, which is the Active Directory Federation Service, where it allows multiple entities to come together to use one set of credentials. So ADFS provides user a web interface that allows them to log in through that using data stored in the Active Directory. So not only that, ADFS also need to be in a private subnet because, once again, it cannot be exposed to the public internet. We need to protect our asset. Next, we need to join domain as well for this setup to be complete. And next, where we have the web application proxy. So early on, I mentioned that ADFS need to be in the private subnet. So how can we actually expose it to the public internet? Because the user may not be in the office all the time. So they could be at home, they could be somewhere else, but they still want to be able to log in using their credentials. So one way to do that is to create a proxy which allows user to access it and log in from there. So this provides another form of security to protect your ADFS. And lastly, we have the Microsoft Entra Connect. So Microsoft Entra Connect allows you to sync your data from your Active Directory to the Microsoft Entra ID, so that the data will always be synced. Every time you add certain permission or you add certain users, it will be synced to the cloud environment. Now in this case, the Microsoft Entra ID also allows you to actually work with other SaaS applications. So you could be using our GitHub, using other cloud application online, and then you'll be able to integrate with Microsoft Entra ID. So that's why Microsoft Entra ID plays an important role in integrating with other SaaS applications out there. So coming back to the point 4, so you need to have an SSL certificate in place, because when you're having the application proxy, you need to have a SSL certificate so that user can access it through the HTTPS protocol so that your data will be encrypted. So let's do that first. Let's create organization domain. So the DNS provider I'm going to use is Cloud DNS. Why is that so? Because it allows you to create a free domain. So for testing purposes, it's a very good platform for you to create a domain name for you to try out. But the downside is that you have to follow certain naming convention that's required by them. So you just have to create an account and then sign in. Okay, so once you have signed in, what you need to do first is to create a free domain name. So you just click on create zone, then click on free zone. So domain name, you can choose anything. So in this case, maybe I'll choose a BFF. Then I click on create. And then I just wait for it to be updated. So once it has been updated, you can actually do a check whether this domain name is valid. So you just check on DNS computer. So you just wait for it to do an audit. It may take about a while. It will take a while. So as you can see here, it has audit successfully. This domain name has been created. Okay, so what you need to do next is to add this domain name in the Microsoft Entra ID. So as you can see here, I'm on this page where it shows you the Microsoft Entra plans and pricing. So you can click on this Microsoft Entra ID free. So you just create a free Azure account. So I click on it. And then you can start free, you can start signing up an account. So I've already created an account. So let me log in here. So as you can see here, I'm inside this Microsoft Entra ID. So what I need to do first is to add the domain. So I just put domain name. I click on domain names. Microsoft Entra ID. So just add a custom domain name. So just click on add custom domain, then put a custom domain, add domain. So next one you do is to add this record inside your DNS registrar. Basically, is to prove that you actually own this domain. So once you have added this record, Microsoft will actually go and verify that you actually has this record in your registrar. So you just add this, come back here, add a new record, put txt. Okay, so once it has been updated, let's do that one more time. Verify. Okay, so now it has successfully verified the domain name. So basically, you need to add this whole record. So next one you need to do is to add one more domain name over here. So you just click on refresh. So you can see here, it has been verified. So add one more. So this is your ADFS proxy name. So I just put Federation Service bff.cloud.dns.be at this domain. So domain name added. So let's go back here. So let's click on refresh. So it has been verified. So we are done with the first part.